Thank you everybody for joining us today for this panel on being visibly old on the internet. Hello everybody, my name's Icy and I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/ICYIC. Mostly I stream the Elder Scrolls Online, but also I am 48 and I've been playing games since I was, I first seriously got interested in games when I was about probably 11 or 12. My parents bought a Commodore 64. It's very flash. And I first fell in love with games playing the game Labyrinth by LucasArts, like based on a movie. I still love that game. And it really started a passion of playing point-and-click adventure games and all sorts of puzzle games. But now also I do a lot of the Elder Scrolls Online. And now Starfield, which I am adoring. But let me go through and ask each of the panelists here today to introduce themselves. They're going to tell you a little bit about them. So Noel, do you want to go first for me?
Certainly. Firstly, hello everyone. Thanks for coming on today. My name is Noel, also known as Furtsevensix. I suppose my background for gaming is I work in the games industry. I've done for about 10-15 years now. Various roles. I'm currently the Senior Social Media and Community Manager at Play on ANZ. So I am 47 years old.
He's the youngin.
Which is the first time in a very long time that's occurred. I'm doing all the old people here.
Yeah.
My first ever console is a thing called a Sheen 100. If you haven't seen one of those or know what that is, which is, there's one down in the classic gaming area, which, once again, the fact that it's classic gaming is slightly painful.
Yeah.
And for me, my love of gaming started actually in the arcade. So with machines like Galaga or Galaga, depending which way you go, I'm not going to bias anybody on that. But yeah, all the old arcade classics. And I suppose at home as well, beyond that, getting an Atari and playing games like Asteroid and Adventure and things like that, they were my real jams as a child. And got me into gaming, and especially after a movie called Tron in '82. That was my real thing about it. Could we get into games? That's how it's going to evolve. Love that idea. That's sort of what spurred my passion in gaming my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
It's Galaga. Hi, I'm Tia. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm 51 as of last week, and I probably had more of just a general gaming childhood, tennis and Donkey Kong and Galaga. I probably more seriously got into it about 20 years ago when my mum got sick and I bought a PlayStation 3. And Final Fantasy and Spyro was my game of escapism, and The Sims 3 at the time.
Yep.
But seriously into gaming only in the last 5 years. Learnt first-person shooters, started playing a game named Neverwinter, which is an MMORPG, and again a little bit. There was a little bit of escapism with it, but now it's just become. I think with the pandemic, it's just become very. It's a hobby that I would rather do than a crossword puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. And PS2, how about you?
Yes, PS2 fat boy, here I am, and I'm nervous as hell. Thank you everyone for coming in, and my early days of gaming was when I was about 7 years old. I was at a friend's place, and he had the Atari, and I'm like, I want one of those. So I begged and pleaded with Mum, Mum, can you give me Atari? And she's like, yeah, sure. And she got me this thing that was nowhere near an Atari. It's like the Tempest. And I played Crazy Climber on it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I adored it. I was playing that for donkeys. And then I finally got an Atari, got a Commodore 64, and I was loving those sort of games. And also playing the arcades like Noel here. And I love it was escapism for me, growing up in a small town playing video games and being part of that culture. And then later on in life, I dabbled with video games here and there, and then a friend of mine was streaming. And I was like, what's that? And I said, I could do that. Well, I could give it a go. So I did, and I got hooked on it, absolutely got hooked on streaming on Twitch, and just building a community of people who, like me, my age group, playing games, streaming. I absolutely fell in love with it, and I made so many amazing people doing it, who are in my age group, young, old, we all do the same thing, playing games. And it's just an amazing thing. So, I stream, and I'm streaming on TikTok, on Twitch, and I'm loving every day. And if it wasn't for doing that, I wouldn't be here right now. So it's surreal, really surreal. So yeah.
And Blunty?
Hello guys, I am Blunty, Blunty TV on YouTube, Blunt Nate on Twitch. My first game experience was, I would have been about 3, went around my cousin's place and they just gotten a brand new Atari 2600. Played Pac-Man on that thing, which absorbed me for the entire visit to our family, which, if anyone's played Pac-Man on the 2600, it's the worst version of that game. I didn't know it at the time, it was 3. My parents took note about how absorbed I was in that, and it's pretty much the only thing that I would pay attention to. This was about 23 years before I was eventually diagnosed with autism, so yeah, they eventually got me a 2600 for Christmas, and that thing had to last me quite some time. We were lower middle class, I couldn't afford any other consoles, so I loved that Atari 2600 long after it was obsolete. But ever since then, a gamer for life, there has never been a point where I haven't been playing games. I know some people my age, we game when we're young, walk away from it, maybe come back to it later in life. But I've always been a gamer, and when YouTube, I was making content on YouTube before YouTube was even bought by Google, so I was on that track pretty early, and that sort of eventually bled into streaming live on Twitch as well. And yeah, just love doing that, love sharing that love of gaming with the community.
And Toast?
Well, I'm ToastRackTV. I'm 57 years old. Applause for that.
I forgot to mention, I'm 45, youngest on the panel.
Yes.
There we go.
Got that.
Babies.
I'm a full-time streamer on Twitch. I stream Escape from Tarkov, and my first computer game was not a video game. It was before video games. It was Command Line Text Adventure, the original Colossal Cave text adventure, which I played on a friend of mine. A friend of my dad's worked for Honeywell and had a terminal to the mainframe. And whenever we went over, I played on the terminal.
And west.
That's right, go west, pick up, spell, and I drew a map of the Colossal Cave on paper. But many years later, my first 3D game was Microsoft Flight Sim 1.0. And that's why I am and always will be an inverted Y gamer.
Sitting next to a savage.
That is a big round of applause there for inverted gaming. Well, thank you everybody for introducing yourselves. So we are all of venerable age here, as you can tell. Though some of us are obviously a little younger. One thing is, I'd like everybody to talk a little bit about how being older fits within your gaming communities. So Noel's the only one who sort of works in gaming, though some of them, like if you're a full-time streamer, you work in gaming as well. So, well, we all have sort of communities of people around us, and whether that's a Twitch community or a YouTube comment section, perhaps, I don't know if that counts as a community, but our friends and family, work colleagues sometimes as well. If you all could talk a little bit about how you feel within that community. Are you the venerable elder? Do people come to you for advice, either personal or gaming? Or do people look at you and go, oh, old person, why do you play the young person's game? So
You're too old.
yeah. Go on, yeah.
Oh God, my community. I am across a few different communities, not just from work, but also from like the games that I really enjoy. I formerly worked at Bethesda, so I still have a lot of love for the Fallout and Skyrim communities, Elder Scrolls, all sorts of stuff as well. So I love those guys, and I still interact with those people quite regularly.
This is Sweet Noel. I don't know if anybody at the church knows of the Church of the Holy Sweet Noel. Yeah.
Bless you all. You helped start one cult in church once, and yeah, But for me, from a community standpoint, it's one of those things where I count to be quite fortunate because I get to enable people and support people to grow in their own communities. So streamers and content creators will reach out looking like, especially small ones, looking for game support, things like that. And I love seeing people who are passionate about those things, take that initiative and reach out and go, hey, look, I'm very new to this. I'll together a code or something like that. Spare. I love supporting those sort of people, help them sort of grow their channels and things like that. Outside as well, it's talking about being the venerable, wise elder, or the hey old man, what are you doing here sort of thing. I have copped both of those. So it's people who want to get into the industry itself. I've had reach out and ask me what was my path, how did I get into games, which I'm always happy to share those experiences and share those insights that I've learned, because I went a very long way around getting into games. And I'm always happy to try and help people make those shortcuts to avoid the same career path mistakes that I made to get them out sooner. But at the same time, I get people who come in very fresh, very new, who, some of them they call the young generation, the Christopher Columbus generation, because they seem to have discovered everything for the first time. So they seem to know everything's going on. And it's quite interesting sometimes seeing them come in with a bigger than life attitude. But at the same time, when they fail, it's not an opportunity to, or if they fail, sorry, I should say, it's not an opportunity to knock them down. It's an opportunity to say, okay, cool, well, see, this is a learning opportunity for them. Help them grow. It's not about keeping people down, it's about helping people grow, in my opinion. So that's my sort of take on the communities I get to help and work with and support.
And Tia, you do a lot of cosplay. So how do you fit within that community, and how do they sort of see like? What are the interesting vibes that go with that?
I think for both Twitch and the cosplay community, the people that I seem to attract most recently and over the last couple of years, because actually just before I get into that, I think one of the most important things that people don't talk enough about, particularly the Twitch communities, is they're ever evolving. You get people who are interested in a particular game, and they might come through your community and then they might move on, and it's nothing that you do wrong, it's just the nature of the gaming experience. But I think that I get a lot of people who are see themselves and go, oh, I'm older, and am I too old to start doing this or continue doing this? And it's like, no, you're not. Where anyone could do it, because there's no age limit to fun. I don't know where this came in, that once you hit, I don't know, 22 or something, you're just supposed to be miserable and be an adult, and it's just, you can still adults and pay bills, and you can still have fun, and you can still do fun things or learn new things. And I came to cosplay really late, 48. I started doing cosplay. So if I'm not too old to start doing it, nobody is too old to start doing it.
That's fantastic.
And and I have kids, so I do get the money bite as well, and I get people asking for advice, and the younger ones want relationship advice, and the older ones it's just seeing people like themselves that they can connect with. Some of them want to get into the streaming space, some of them just want a game, some of them just want other people to connect with the things that they're interested in. So
yeah, absolutely. And PS2?
Well, I'm in with multiple groups and communities. I'm actually Ozforce Gaming and Thomas Vanguard. Love you guys. Thank you for coming. Well, when I started streaming on Twitch, I was so new to it. I didn't know what groups and communities. It was all new to me. And then when I started going to these groups and started streaming, I had suddenly all these people message me, how do you stream? How do you do this? Oh, I'm tired. Oh, how do you keep up with all this stuff? I was like, oh, there's all these questions, but not only from older people my age, but younger people as well. They're looking for someone for advice, and I think they just look at you as a role model. A role model. They see, well, I want to be like that person. And it makes you feel like, wow, this is a huge responsibility. It is to do this sort of stuff. So I get people asking me for advice about gaming, streaming, also in real life stuff as well. So it's just phenomenal how many people come and ask you these questions. And you go, I don't know if I should answer this or do I give the wrong advice? You're just so scared. Oh, it's a little bit. I don't know about that one, but it's also really. You feel like it's such a huge role, but you also feel like you're embracing it. So I really am feeling proud and honoured to be part of that. You know, so it's great. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Blunty, how about you?
My perspective is a relatively unusual one industry-wide because I started being a video content creator when video content creators started. Like when YouTube was less than a year old is when I started. So I've gone from being a video content creator in his late 20s and lived all the way through and still do that now at 45. So I've seen the shift in general attitudes happen very, very slowly to how people react to my stuff. And most often it's, on YouTube, it's just someone being smarmy and calling me grandpa and saying I'm too old to have an opinion about game. On Twitch, it's a little bit different because I often stream Pokemon or Minecraft in the past as well. And those are games with typically younger audiences. So I get, young kids coming in and going, what are you doing playing this game? This is a kid's game for kids. It's for kids my age. Why are you playing it, old man grandpa? And as Tia was mentioning before, my usual response is just, okay, tell me, what is the exact age I'm supposed to stop having fun? And then we'll have that discussion. Silence. Every time, silence. But yeah, as far as my role in the community, I don't know, I've got an audience filled with many different kinds of people. And, some are my age, some are older, and some are very, very young. And with the older types, I think it's just they can relate to me and we can talk about, classic games and stuff we remember and things like that back in my day. And with the kids, my general nature tends to be a lot calmer and gentler than some streamers, so I try and sort of lead by example, how to be a decent person without having to be that crazy screaming streamer that some people just don't enjoy watching. So it's nice to be an alternative to that.
And ToastRack?
I felt so welcomed by the Twitch streaming community when I started streaming. So I started, like a lot of people, during COVID lockdown. My old job was in TV production, and TV just shut down in Australia for several months. And I was in Melbourne, so I was in a severe lockdown, playing Escape from Tarkov and living off government support. And I thought, I'd always wondered what streaming was like, but I thought, you have to be a bro gamer to be an extrovert to be a streamer, but I thought I'd just try it out to see what it felt like. And but no, the audience quickly saw through that. I think I wore a baseball cap in my first stream.
How do you do, fellow kids?
I was almost holding a skateboard under one arm, but that didn't last very long because everyone was so welcoming, and they sort of told me what they liked about me, which was that I was this sort of gentlemanly, more. I played at a slower pace than other people. I didn't care if I won or lost, and I didn't smash my keyboard and call everyone a cheater when I lost. I just would go, well, I expect to lose at least 50% of my fights. That was one of them. Let's move on. And people really seem to welcome that and adopt me. And I only occasionally get, why is this old man playing this game? And now chat just gangs up on them.
Which is good.
Leave the old man alone.
Yeah.
Generally not everyone is good at games. Everyone out there trying to have fun is not a pro gamer trying to be an esport.
Yeah.
So that's what they want to connect with. Like, it's fun to watch those people and see them do well, but that's the same as watching a football game. And if you enjoy football but you're not a pro football player,
Yeah, no, exactly. Just circling back to one of the points that Blunty made is I think that there is a super fantastic role for older gamers, whether you're on Twitch or that you're playing at home, is that it actually shows those kids that they don't need to stop. You don't need to grow up and grow out of gaming. You can actually keep gaming is a hobby that is satisfying and enjoyable and makes connections with other people if you want, and there is no need to stop. You might need to roll it back a little bit as your life changes, as your responsibilities change, but you never need to actually give it up. So obviously, as with grown older. We've started young in various levels, but as you've gotten older, how has your gaming changed? Did you need to take a break for a while? Did you need to roll it back? I'll start at the other end, ToastRack, and we'll work back this way this time.
I think I've always played games like an old man. I've always played more slowly. Like, I play Escape from Tarkov like it's a stealth survival game. I did a no-kill challenge in Tarkov, which is a very violent game. So I've sort of always been like that. In fact, I've had the handle ToastRack for 20 years, but before that, I was briefly funnel web, and that suited my gameplay 20 years ago, because a funnel web is a deadly Australian spider that digs a hole and covers itself in grass, waits for someone to go by, and then pounces and kills them. That's how I play Tarkov.
That's how we play Apex.
Yeah. Blunty, how about you?
I don't know if I've had to change my gaming habits because I got older, but they have changed. In my sort of most passionate gaming era in my youth, in my teens, it was, during the arcade games. So a lot of the games I enjoyed playing were very fast-paced, action, quick burst kind of stuff. And I didn't have a lot of taste for the slower games that, there were plenty of around, but it wasn't my taste. And then sort of Pokemon came around. It was in my early 20s when that first came along. A mate of mine was playing it, and I mocked him for playing Pokemon because it's a kid's game.
Shame.
And so at one point I decided to learn more about Pokemon, so I had a deeper wealth of mock material for my mate. And I wanted to understand it better so I could make fun of him more. So I obtained a copy of Pokemon and played it for a little bit. And then 9 hours later I was still playing it. I went, oh, I get it now. And from then on in, my gaming sort of palette sort of started to expand. It has continuously expanded. I think to this day I'm always, trying something new and never ruling something out because of genre necessarily.
I'm going to skip over to Noel. Noel, yeah, how has your sort of gaming changed as you from a young man sort of to a venerable grandpa?
I was wondering how we were going to finish up with that.
Yeah,
For me, I spent a lot of time in arcades as a kid and went to console. I was never really much of a PC gamer. But as I've gotten older, I found I've got more patience for games. So I'm more, I used to love very fast-paced action games sort of thing. I think stuff like when Pokemon Red actually came out, so it was maybe similar to you, Blunty, in that respect. That was sort of, wasn't my first adventure into that sort of RPG style. It might have been like Hillspire on C64. But I just had more time to actually engage in lore and in story and really dig deep into that and just enjoy the world more rather than just trying to rush complete stuff. Even though I do have less time these days, but time is a bit more valuable, so I want to spend it enjoying it a bit more, saying there's a bit more depth to it. And also, just on a bit of a side note too, one misconception I want to quickly put out there for everybody about working in games is that you play games all the time. The amount of the younger generation that comes up and go, oh, it must be great, you must play games all day at work. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So 3 of us have kids and 3 of us don't. So obviously when you have kids, that really changes sort of focus for a couple of years there. So piece 2, because you're a parent, so how did kids coming into your life change sort of how you?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Well, I've always gamed, so that was always around it when they were growing up. So when they were little, they was always seeing Dad on the couch there, trying really hard at Call of Duty, and they're like, hey, whatever. But then when I started streaming, I said, oh, by the way, I'm streaming now. They're like, oh, that's lame, Dad. It's pretty lame. But their friends thought, oh, your dad's a streamer. How cool's that? And they're like, oh, I guess it's kind of cool, but they don't want to say, well, yeah, Dad's cool. They thought I was lame. But playing Call of Duty on default settings, I guess it's kind of lame. But I think being a parent and having kids playing games, I introduced them to this whole community, like playing games and stuff like that. So now they've got their own universe, and they're gamers. They're like their dad. They're nerds like their dad. They don't want to admit it, but they're nerds like their dad. So my daughter, she's on the PlayStation 4 playing Last of Us. My son's on the Xbox playing Titanfall with his friends, and then they'll come in and game with me every now and then. So even though like we're hundreds of miles away from each other, we still have that closeness, play with each other, go on games, game chat, talk to each other. It's great. It's absolutely amazing that we have similar tastes and things and stuff
And
like that.
your kids
So,
are older, aren't they? That's-
well, my son just recently left home, so it broke my heart.
Yeah.
It broke my heart. He's my baby boy, and I was like, I thought, nah, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do it. And he's like, see you, Dad, bye. And I'm like, yeah, see ya. And I was like, bawling my eyes out. And it was like, it's so hard when your children grow up because it goes so quick. 1 minute they're, knee high, watching you play Mario, laughing at you, and now they're gone. So it's very surreal, but I'm so proud of them. Like, and they're proud of me, which is amazing. Like, they're like, my dad's a gamer, he's a streamer, and they were like, when they heard I was coming to PAX, they're like, Dad, we're so proud of you. And I was like, really? And that got me right in the feels. I was like, no, I'm not going to cry again. I'm going to shut up. Oh, God. And they're like, give me the tissues. And I was like, oh, God, that's it. But it's amazing being a parent gamer.
And Tia,
Yes.
so you've got kids, and yours have grown up as well.
They are.
So
Yes.
how has sort of gaming, and you've said that you just restarted sort of more recently. So
Yeah, so I actually restarted a few years ago. So I actually fostered my kids and went and actually started gaming again because I was having a really hard time. And it was my coping mechanism
yeah.
because I don't really drink. So at first it was hard because they resented it. And I tried to explain to them that I had to have something for me so that I could
absolutely.
give for them, so that I could be for them. You have to have something for yourself because you give so much when they're kids. But they did come around, and in a similar fashion now they love to brag that their mum is a streamer and a cosplayer. We're a cosplay family. We went to a convention last year together. We all dressed up.
That's awesome.
And we all like different things. My son's really into the Switch and Breath of the Wild, and my daughter loves like other things. But we developed this gaming speak, like we can talk to each other in game, and even though we don't play the same games, like if I we took advantage of Apex recently and got purple tails, like when you diving tails, which we really shouldn't have been able to get because we're really trash. And my son was like, oh my God, that's so great. And when he gets new armor and Breath of the Wild, it doesn't have to be the same game for us to understand like why we're so proud and so happy. And it actually, while it started off as such a negative thing, it became a real touchstone for us, and then actually brought us closer together.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I have two kids. Mine are a little bit younger. My oldest is 15, the younger one is 12. But when, I guess it was about, nearly 10 years ago, my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which just is so much work. I don't have it, and I don't have to, but while they're little and you're looking after them, it's just a lot. And gaming was absolutely my mental escape. It was the place that I would go, and I would just just even routine things in games. It's a great way to take your mind away from where you are right now, what you need to do, take a break, take a step back, and then go on again. But certainly my gaming, I mostly gamed, but it wasn't really until I started playing ESO, and then a few years into that, it was like, I really enjoy playing games, and I'm older, and I would like to share that with other people. I don't see that many older streamers, and maybe I will try that. And then it's great because all you do is keep getting older, so it's fantastic.
Hopefully.
Look, I retirement plan is to stream ESO and or some other game full time. I'm going to be leading PvP raids. That's the plan.
I'm hoping by the time we're retirement age, there'll be gamers' retirement villages. LAN parties every night.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful.
Just a day room full of old consoles.
Yeah.
It's not just me that's thought it. I'm so happy.
Oh, that's
All
absolutely
these people
wonderful.
complaining about someone hacking. That guy's hacking over there. He's hacking. He's camping. Yes. Where's he camping? I want to get my wheelchair and win. Bloody thing.
This is part of the reason why I'm building my collection. Like people say, but you're never going to play them. I was like, no, this is my retirement. Like,
Yes, absolutely. And that brings us to the next part of this topic, getting old physically. So it's a bit like that. So I just like, thank you for sharing, Noel. I appreciate that. So obviously, we're no spring chickens anymore, but how has the way your body has changed as you've gotten older affected how you play games? Has it changed your ability to play? Have you gotten better? Have you gotten worse? Have you found you needed to move away from certain genres because it's just not working anymore? Tia, I'll start with you.
Jill, I don't know why I went for console gaming. But if I do PC gaming, it just has to be point and click. Like Sims is perfect. I tried a little bit of Final Fantasy 14, the online version. I started on PC and I was like, I even got the fancy mouse and I just couldn't remember what buttons I mapped to what. I was just like, I can barely manage this. My brain, so not so much my body, I definitely like have to have a good chair, but it's my brain capacity. I'm like, if it's too much to learn and it's not just, and there's no guidance, like that's really hard then, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, my hearing. When you're playing a lot of younger people, they can game for hours and have no effect. And I go like 2 or 3 hours, like, I've got to get up. You know, everything's aching and sore. Probably my response time to controlling, because I'm a controller, I'm a gamer with a controller. So my response time's not as quick as it used to be. So I will get, killed a lot in Call of Duty. Like, but I like FPS shooters, so I'm a glutton for punishment. But if I try like RTS type games, I feel like if I don't understand within 10 minutes, I'm not going to play this anymore. No, I've had enough. And I'll just like, angry old man, stop that. I'm going to go back to Call of Duty. So that's me. I think I get a little short tempered with those sort of games. But yeah, definitely I can't game for hours. Like I just get tired in front of the screen after a while. I'll be like, hands and eyesight too. You get the eye strain. So. Definitely gaming old, does have its setbacks, but I'm going to do it as long as I can.
Yeah.
As long as I can. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I'm loving it.
So you're a first-person shooter player on controller.
Yeah.
You play inverted. Can I switch seats?
Yeah. You hate us that much?
I play with controller and inverted, if that makes
Whoa! Wow!
I withdraw my request.
So, Blunty, how has getting older changed the way you've approached physically gaming?
For me, it hasn't, because I had an accident in my mid-20s which effed up my back. So I have spent the last 18 years without a day without pain. So I've had, old man pain since I was in my 20s. So I haven't felt my body betraying me gradually more, as I age. Because I've already had that.
Yeah.
I got a bad knee and a bad back. But I do think I'm better at games now than I was. And talking about what T was saying, mouse and keyboard stuff, I never really have a problem with that because I form habits very quickly, so everything falls to muscle memory really quickly when it comes to complicated control schemes and things like that. In first-person shooters, I think my aim's gotten better than it was. So, I don't know, I keep waiting to decline. She's watched me for a while, she knows. I keep waiting to start declining in reaction times or ability to focus or playing for long periods of time. I've streamed for like 20 hours straight playing Spider-Man when that came out, and my bum was a bit tired, but it was fine. So yeah, fingers crossed I continue not to feel the decline of age.
And ToastRack?
I feel it. Like all my peers are doing 10, 12-hour streams every day. I can't do that amount of time. I can't do a subathon. All my peers do subathons. That's how they make all their money. I can't do a subathon. I can't. I do sort of 6-hour stream, something like that. But the other cost, I find it, I'm an introvert, so doing something social is, while it's exciting and fun, it costs energy. And at the end of a stream, I've just used up all my social energy. I don't have any left. So I don't have any left for my relationship. I don't have any left for my family. At the end of the day, I just don't have any emotional capacity left.
You feel drained.
I'm drained, yeah, that's right. And so I think that's a real cost. And I've noticed, I've watched a few sort of retirement YouTubes of streamers who have quit streaming, and they often say that streaming is very rewarding for an introvert because you get all this love from the audience. It's wonderful, but it also robs you of all your other ways of getting love from people in real life. And so I'm cautious of that, and want to keep some room and capacity left for IRL relationships and learn those lessons.
You have to, yeah.
Have you found that your body has changed physically? Like have your reaction times changed? Have you switched sorts of games?
My reaction, I did one of those reaction time tests, and it came out 400 milliseconds. I think the test is wrong. I just expect my reaction time to be double the other guy's reaction time when I'm playing a first-person shooter. That's why I hide in a bush.
I mean, no, it's the Australian ping.
This is the Australian ping. That's what it is.
Yeah, always the Australian ping.
It's not even the idea of a subathon and trying to entertain for 24 hours. It's the fact that I couldn't stay awake for 24 hours.
No way. Yeah, no, I've certainly. Actually, I've probably gotten better for the time at gaming, and part of that is because I do it more now. So I've just sort of practiced and practiced and practiced. So in ESO, there's like a sort of the harder solo content, and I saw some other people doing it and went, hey, I could do that. It took me 3 years to learn how to do that, but I got there in the end. And I just had to teach myself that muscle memory and just full on get better. But I, could see other people and other streamers that I knew who were like, 10 years younger, and they would just jump in and just do it straight away. And I was like, okay, but I will persist and keep doing it. But certainly for me, I absolutely agree with you, ToastRack. Yeah, I do sort of streams. My max stream is about 5 hours because that's just between when I can start and when I can finish, and I just cannot go longer than that because life happens otherwise. But at the end of that, no, it's 100%. Like, it really, as an introvert, hi everybody, it really does drain you, and then you need to spend some time recharging. So I do expect that after PAX, I will not talk to a soul for probably several weeks. So just FYI. Noel, do you want to share how you've changed through gaming and sort of how stuff's happened?
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had to clarify. So for me, gaming changed pretty drastically for me about 10 years ago when I suffered a stroke. So at the in my early 30s, sort of, was mid 30s, suffered a stroke, went through all that wonderful drama, had lost 10% of the movement down the left-hand side of my body, and I actually used gaming as a recovery tool. Because at the time I couldn't afford physical therapy or even speech therapy. I was slurring my words, everything was like lagging on this hand, that's the way I describe it. And so I used things like Guitar Hero and Wii Bowling and SingStar, and things like that to actually redevelop all those basic muscle skills. And even though like a stroke can be quite, detrimental to one's health, gaming is what helped get me back to being how I am now, be that better or worse. But I also, like, I suppose the original part of that question as well, how does that happen? I think because I had that happen and I spent so much time working my physical abilities and stuff like that, I still feel as active a gamer or as confident a gamer as I did beforehand, but only because I literally spent 12 months of intensely smashing away on a little plastic guitar to try and get back up to speed. And yeah, the only thing actually, one thing I will say that has happened as I've gotten older is I can't play games on the couch anymore.
Yeah.
Not because it's uncomfortable, but because I fall asleep. Like, I'll sit a bit lower.
I'm with you there, mate. With you there. I'll play for a few hours. No.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I play in a chair. So this is the 10th year of PAX, and two of our panel members have been here for either all or nearly all, and two of our panel members, it's literally their first PAX. This is their first time here.
It's my first time, please be gentle.
Yeah. So I just wanted to get an impression of those of you who have been here for a long time and those of you who are fresh. What it's like. Like how has PAX changed over the last 10 years? I'll start with Noel because he's been here for every PAX.
PAX has been a very interesting beast. From like starting essentially a swamp, as anyone who was at the original one, and the tent with the rainstorms and the drama of the train stuff coming back. It was a bit of a trial by fire. First in Australia, a lot of passion behind it, and yeah, it wasn't their greatest moment, it wasn't their finest moment, but also you could see the passion behind it. Over the last 10 years, seeing how it's evolved and changed and grown and refocused its drive back to being community and supporting people and those experiences. If you look at all the marketing material, all the signage on the place, yeah, welcome home. It's, you know, people like, there's things like PAX Fan. There are people I see once a year here at PAX, and I'm going to talk to them for another 11, 12 months out of the year. But I'll see them here and I'll pick up like it's been, like nothing has changed. Beyond that as well, as a demographic, as people have gotten older, this has been 10 years, and people have been to every single PAX. People have gotten older. You'll see people who maybe don't prioritise it as much as they did when they were younger, and that's completely fine. Other people still love it because of the experience of it. But as PAX has gotten older, it's gotten wiser. And I think that's a key thing as well, because you see people coming in, like, first time PAX people here tonight. They're on a panel, probably obviously their first time on a panel as well, for the first ever PAX. Actually, who's for the first panel tonight?
Oh, this is definitely my first, can't you tell?
Yes.
I was going to say we've all matured, but all kinda, but maybe not.
Perfect timing.
But it's one of those things that as PAX and the people have evolved and grown over time, people who are still here have done everyone, even new fresh faces that come in, there's a better focus on being together, supporting each other, being inclusive, and the community, which I absolutely love and adore. It's just grown and evolved to that beautiful thing. That's my sort of take on it.
And Blunty, so you've been to all but one of PAX Australia, but you've done a lot of overseas conventions as well. So how have things changed?
Yeah, I've been doing conventions for ages, and I've worked conventions as well as like the official video guy and things like that. So I've seen behind the scenes of a bunch of conventions as well, both here and overseas. And when the first PAX came around, it was at Showgrounds. It was a terrible location for it, and tents and rain, and the audio was terrible in every room, and it was physically miserable. But the one thing that stuck with me is the vibe, for want of a better word, was very distinct from any other expo or convention I'd ever been to. There was a much more friendly, supportive, open kind of vibe where you instantly got the sense that everybody there knew everybody else had one thing in common, and they felt safe and comfortable to meet new people, open up and join friend groups and just talk to people about whatever it was they were passionate about. In a lot of other conventions, particularly ones that are sort of more pop culture broad, you don't really get that same kind of thing. So while I stopped going to most other cons, I always make a point to come to PAX because this is, you know, I've never had a bad time at PAX, like ever. This is the best convention vibe that I've ever been to.
Absolutely. And ToastRack, when was your first PAX?
My first, I think it was 5 years ago, so it might have been to 4 or 5. Did we miss one for the
We
due
missed
COVID or 2?
two.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was 2. Yeah. So I think I've been to 4 over that period, and I've noticed definitely the budgets of the corporations have dropped. There's less money spent on this, but the feeling is still there, and after COVID, stronger than ever. And it's the level of commitment of everyone and the level of passion. I've been to a couple of cons overseas and seen how much more commitment, how much more cosplay there is, and how much more friendly it is here. So I do really notice that. And that's remained unchanged, and even has had a spike since COVID, because we're just so grateful to be out of the house and with like-minded people again.
Yeah, so I've had 2 PAXs before COVID and 2 PAXs now after. And yeah, it's really feels like you're with friends. It really does feel like that. It's just such a lovely vibe. I really like PAX. Thank you everybody for making PAX amazing. So Tia, your first PAX, in fact, you've been here like at PAX for just a couple of hours. How have your first couple of hours been?
In-depth detail.
It's overwhelming, but it's very exciting. So the only other convention that I've been to was Comic-Con with the cosplay that we did last year, which was great. But it's a very different space. Like, I'm overwhelmed by the sheer volume of computers and all the playing stuff, places you can go and play, and we kind of had a little walk around. But I said I want to look at things, but just there's so many people.
Panel. Go to panels. They're really going to the panel.
But I think it's larger than I expected.
Yeah.
But how but the level of nerd in the room just makes me so happy.
Absolutely. And PS2, your first PAX.
Yeah, it's surreal right now. It's so surreal. Well, it's my first time in Melbourne as well. I'm a country boy. I'm from a town with a population of 1,200 people. So I'm like, try not to go, hello everybody, hello, sort of thing. But yeah, it's really surreal to be here. And also, of course, my first panel. So I'm just like gobsmacked. I'm like, oh my God. But it's so, but I feel it's like a reward. Like, I've worked so hard on what I'm doing, and now I get to talk to all these people about one thing that we have share in common is gaming, the gaming community, what we do, what we love, what we care about, what's part of our being. It's what we are, and we're here to share it amongst ourselves. And I wouldn't have that opportunity if I wasn't what I'm doing right now. So it's fantastic. I mean, it's amazing, and I love like the commitment that the people have here at PAX, like the volunteers, everybody. I mean, I feel like I can go up to anybody and ask them like directions for something where to go, and they'll be more than happy to help out.
Absolutely.
There'll be no, exactly, and I've been going up to people, getting photos taken. I've got to meet some of my friends who I've never met in real person, until today. Hugs and kisses, and went out for dinner and stuff like that. So it's absolutely amazing, and I hope to be back again. So definitely. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
PAX, you're wonderful.
Yeah, you are wonderful.
And it's not PAX, it's the people at
Yeah.
PAX. You're wonderful. It really is just the most lovely place to be. So, I think that covers most of the things we want to chat about. So that means we do have some time for maybe just to find out a little bit about everybody here. And I would like to say thank you so much, all of you more mature people, for coming out at like 5:30 on a Friday. I know that you would rather be at home. So thank you everybody for coming. It's a full house, and we weren't expecting that, so we really appreciate it. Does anybody, we've got literally 5 minutes, does anybody have any questions?
I have one.
Yeah?
Is it Galaga or Galaga?
Put your hands up for Galaga.
Hands up for Galaga. Nice. Hands up for Galaga.
Told you so. Vindication.
So, with you just 1 second, one other quick poll question, because I think we sort of asked before, but didn't get a clear result. Who plays inverted and who plays normal? So, normal? I wouldn't call you normal, but that's fine. And who plays inverted?
Oh, yes. This is great.
Crazy people.
Closer than I expected.
Aeroplanes in the real world are inverted. You push forward on a joystick on an aeroplane and you look down.
Here's a question here from either a Sith Lord or Grim Reaper, I'm not sure which one.
Oh no. The Grim Reaper's come for us, I know. I'm too young.
Okay, it's fine, he's only Sith, it's fine.
It's okay.
What's your
Keep
question?
still.
In Captain America Civil War, or one of the Avengers movies, Iron Man makes a Galaga joke and he says Galaga.
Oh, well, there you go.
Tony Stark isn't always right. I think the movies have demonstrated that. He's on this. Remember Ultron? Bit of a mistake.
Oh wait, we're going to have a question here, then we'll go to one for that.
The tactical controller.
That's right, yeah. Hey man, playing Galaga. That's right, I've got that.
Yeah, that's American though.
Yeah.
We don't pronounce anything wrong.
Who made the game?
All right, I'll grab, actually, I'll grab the person up the middle at the back. So, yep, you stand up.
Get off the lawn.
So the question for everybody was, is there a time in gaming where something's changed or something's been taken away and you felt, oh, no, that's not right. No, I don't like that. For me, no. I actually enjoy the challenge of, like, MMOs constantly evolve. And so I actually enjoy the challenge of when a system changes or a skill changes, I actually quite go, oh, right, yeah, no, now I get to challenge myself again and I get to try new things and new stuff. But I know that's a minority. But yeah, how do other people feel?
I do have one on this, and it's less about the gaming, more about the physical side of things, which, you know, I'll be very careful because I do work for a game publisher. But one thing I do miss are physical manuals in games. Oh, one minute. Yeah. That's right.
You never read them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go Tia.
I took a break from Neverwinter because they completely reworked how you built your character, and but I've come now to the realization that it's cyclical, and things like that change. And sometimes it's okay. They gave me the opportunity to try some other games, but I was dirty on it because I was the first time I'd made this character, I was really good at this character, and then they just screwed it. And also the Rev rework. I don't know why they completely reworked Rev in Apex. They should have just made another character.
Well, you know, playing older games, and you know, you used to just put the disc in and press and turn it on and you could play it, but now when you put the disc in or download it, you're ready to play it, there's a 50 gig update and you're like, why? And you're like, why? And then you have to wait. So my patience is very thin, and so is my hairline, and I'm like, I don't want to wait anymore. So that sort of stuff really does hurt me. And I understand, like, the whole game scene's changing, but like it seems like the bigger the games, there's always updates, constant updates all the time. You just want to kick back, you've had a hard day at work and you want to kill some people on the game, and you want to rage and you get angry and you like, can't do it. Oh, 50 gig update. Okay, well that's made even more angrier.
And then ToastRack really quick.
For me, the thing that made me crankiest is when we started to see digital storefronts delist stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like when Scott Pilgrim vs. the World disappeared from Xbox, and there was no other way to play it. They did eventually release a physical edition for the Switch and stuff, but that, you know, that was the first leaf off the tree that fell of that kind of thing that constantly frustrates me. Just worrying that my digital collection could not be playable at some point.
That's true. You're renting. Yeah.
I played the recent Dooms and sort of enjoyed them, but thought, no, this is not as good as the old Doom, and went back and played original Doom, but the controls were appalling. So I had to quickly go get Doom 64, I think, has proper WASD controls, so I had to recant slightly on that.
Yeah. Was that the closest we had to a back in my day?
Yeah.
Really made the whole panel.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. This visibly big goal. appreciate you coming out. Thank you for coming to PAX. Thank you for staying. Thank you for gaming. And hopefully, we will see you next year.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ask you guys a question, sorry. So I'm 38, so I'm